Thank you all devotees once again for joining our Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, daily Srimad Bhagavatam reading morning session. Hare Krishna. So it's joined Sarvada Mataji also. Hare Krishna Sadananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay, Ratna Mataji. Okay, thank you. We'll start with the verse number 40 today. So just Hare Krishna. Verse number 40. Nadadi क्वचिदु कंढो विलज्जो नृत्यति क्वचित् क्वचित्तद्भावनायुक्तस्तन्मयो अनुजगारः नदति क्वचिदुत्कण्ठो विलज्जो नृत्यति क्वचित्तद्भावनायुक्तस्तन्मयो अनुजगारः. Translation purported by His Divine Grace Abhayacharanarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Sometimes, upon seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prahlad Maharaja would loudly call in full anxiety. He sometimes lost his shyness in jubilation and began dancing in ecstasy, and sometimes being fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, he felt oneness and imitated the pastimes of the Lord. Translation once more. Sometimes, upon seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prahlad Maharaja would loudly call in full anxiety. He sometimes lost his shyness in jubilation and began dancing in ecstasy, and sometimes being fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, he felt oneness and imitated the pastimes of the Lord. Prahlad Maharaja sometimes felt that the Lord was far away from him and therefore called him loudly. When he saw that the Lord was before him, he was fully jubilant. Sometimes, thinking himself one with the Supreme, he imitated the Lord's pastimes, and in separation from the Lord, he would sometimes show symptoms of madness. These feelings of a devotee would not be appreciated by impersonalists. One must go further and further into spiritual understanding. The first realization is impersonal Brahman, but one must go still further to realize Paramatma and eventually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is worshipped by the transcendental feelings of a devotee in a relationship of Shanta, Dasa, Sakhya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya. Here, the feeling of Prahlad Maharaja were in the mellow of Vatsalya, filial love and affection. As a child cries when left by his mother, when Prahlad Maharaja felt that the Lord was away from him, he began to cry, Nadadi. Again, a devotee like Prahlada sometimes sees that the Lord is coming from a long distance to pacify him. Like a mother responding to a child saying, "My dear child, do not cry, I am coming." Then the devotee, without being ashamed due to his surroundings and circumstances, begins to dance, thinking, "Here is my Lord is coming." Thus, the devotee is devotee in full ecstasy sometimes imitates the pastimes of the Lord, just as the cowherd boys used to imitate the behavior of the jungle animals. However, he does not actually become the Lord. Prahlad Maharaja achieved the spiritual ecstasies described herein by his advancement in spiritual understanding. Hare Krishna. Shanaparajin.
Hare Krishna, my humble obeisances to all assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So today we will be discussing from verse number 40. Actually, this verse number 40 is 39 to 41. Actually, it is discussing about Prahlad Maharaj's symptoms of ecstasy. So
Yes.
this is expressing his love towards the Lord. Like we know, when we are gradually progressing in spiritual life, we have these stages. Like Shraddha is the first stage, then Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, then Asakti, Ruchi, Bhava, and Prema. So the Prema is the final stage, love of God. So Prema. So that ecstatic symptom is actually exhibited here. Of course, Prahlad Maharaj is not going through the steps like us, like Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha. He's already a Mahajan. Means he's already a devotee, born devotee, we can say. He's already a devotee. From the womb itself, Prahlad Maharaj is a devotee. So here we can see how Prahlad Maharaj is exhibiting the symptoms of ecstasy. So sometimes upon seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prahlad Maharaj would loudly call in full anxiety. So this anxiety, there are two kinds of anxiety, material anxiety and spiritual anxiety. Material anxiety will cause us actually stress, like material anxiety, what will happen to my job, what will happen to my family, what will happen to my, people have anxiety when they are investing money in the stock market. And so what will happen today, what will be there, that is material anxiety. That will normally result in stress, anxiety, and kind of depression. But this is spiritual anxiety. Spiritual anxiety is always Prabhupada recommended. Spiritual anxiety is good. Like Prabhupada also had a lot of anxiety. When Prabhupada was building the Juhu temple, he was always anxious, like whether how this temple will be built. Every day, Prabhupada will be in anxious state. And he will always ask his disciples, what is the status? Give me the report. Why it is delayed? And that kind of anxiety is actually very much recommended in spiritual life, because Krishna actually is very pleased when the devotee is anxious for his service or anxious for him. So, so material anxiety and spiritual anxiety. Here, what Prahlad Maharaj is exhibiting is spiritual anxiety, which is very much recommended in the Krishna consciousness. He sometimes lost his shyness in jubilation and began dancing in ecstasy. So now also you can see the second line. Normally people, they feel shy when we go to the temple. Also we see that people normally in South India, we don't dance, like we just
Mhm.
offer our pranams to the Lord, right? We close our eyes and we offer our pranams. But sometimes when devotees, when the people, same people, they come to ISKCON temple, they see the devotees are dancing when there is a kirtan and when there is arati, they dance. So these people, when they are going new, they are invited, to dance with them. No? So they feel very shy in the beginning because they did not see, this dancing in public, people feel shy. But here you can see Prahlad Maharaj, he lost his shyness because in jubilation, in happiness. Because when people are happy, normally people tend to dance. That is an expression of our happiness. So here also, since Prahlad Maharaj is feeling that happiness within, he lost his shyness. He did not care for the society. He did not care for the external world. He just began dancing in ecstasy. And sometimes being fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, he felt oneness and imitated the pastimes of the Lord. The same thing we can remember Prabhupada writes in the purport also, the gopis. When Krishna disappeared from them, from their association, then they started imitating about Krishna's pastimes of the Lord. Like somebody was lifting Govardhan hill, like pretending to lift like Govardhan hill. Somebody was like trying to kill the Kalia. So this is a spiritual ecstasy or spiritual symptoms when somebody is deeply absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. So here Prahlad Maharaj is actually exhibiting so much of symptoms. So 40, 39, 40 and 41 is actually exhibiting, describing. Sukadeva Goswami is describing about how Prahlad Maharaj was exhibiting the symptoms of ecstasy. So he was crying. So Prabhupada writes here, no, the first
Which
verse.
is Sukadeva Goswami or Narada Muni? Because in between Where we stopped is Narada Muni is talking to Yudhishthira Maharaj.
Yes. If you see Prabhu Bhagavatam, the whole discussion is between Sutta Goswami and the sages of Naimisaranya, right? Like that, the Bhagavatam starts, right, Prabhu?
Yeah,
So
but
from
this,
that, if you go inside, Sutta Goswami refers to Sukadev Goswami and Parishit Maharaj discussion.
yes,
And when
that
we
is,
go inside the Sukadev Goswami's discussion, then what you're saying, Prabhu, that is correct. Narada Muni is discussing all those things. So it is like a discussion within the discussion within the discussion. So what you are saying is also correct. I said from the overall point of view, and here what you are saying is also correct. Like Narada Muni is actually
because yesterday
discussing.
when we was reading the other verse, we told Prabhuji also, I mean, Manitambaraji, I mean, Sudarshan
Yeah.
Prabhuji was there. So,
Okay.
so 2, 3 or 4 verses before, it was said Narada Muni
Narada
left that.
Uvacha.
So that is
Okay.
why
Okay. Which was it verse, Prabhu?
maybe
20.
that Narada Muni only is talking to, because Yudhishthira Maharaja asked question, no, he's replying to Yudhishthira Maharaja, why Hiranya. So, was
Okay. Okay. So, yes, I did not attend that.
right, Guruji, or Guruji can go
Yeah, yeah.
in the base number.
The previous verses, actually, it is like 30, 40 here. Transcendental qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. This is what here. And here, if you see 30 to 43, actually, demigods approached Lord Vishnu for protection. And they hear the voice, okay, message of Supreme Lord to the demigods. Message of the Supreme Lord to demigods. So, I don't see Prabhu where Narada Muni is speaking here. Narada watch where it is there. I am not able to see that verse. Hmm. Which is the verse you are saying, Prabhu? Narada Muni watch 36, 37.
So,
I'm not able to see Prabhu. It is Narada watch like where he has.
so maybe this one, not verse number 29, Guruji.
29, huh? Okay. So
Yeah.
let me open the verse 29. 29.
That,
Okay,
going to,
see Narada watch iti ukta loka guru. So the great sage is saying Narada Muni continued when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master. Okay, so this is a discussion happening between Narada Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj, right? No?
not clear, Guruji. Yes.
This is the discussion happening between Narada Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj, right?
Guruji's mic is far away or something. It's not
Now you are
clear.
able to get. Now
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now,
So this
now,
is a discussion happening between Narada Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj, right?
yeah, that's what.
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhuji, from
Yes,
29th
yes.
sloka, it's Narada Muni and
Prahlad.
Yudhishthira
Yes, Maharaj.
conversation, Prabhuji.
Sadananda Guruji, any comment? Yes,
No, no, just so repeating that one.
correct.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
Oh,
Good, good. Okay, so now this 40th, so as we discussed, Narada Muni is discussing with Yudhishthira Maharaj about the transcendental qualities and symptoms of ecstasy about Prahlad Maharaj. Okay, so here you can see this verse, which is 40. Uh, so first is crying, right? Crying, that is actually exhibited in this verse actually. And seeing Prahlad Maharaj loudly call in anxiety, we discuss. So we will go to the purport. So Prahlad Maharaj actually sometimes felt that the Lord was far away from him and therefore called him loudly. When he saw that the Lord was before him, he was fully jubilant. So we can see the same exhibition, ecstasy, this exhibited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sishtastakam prayers also. Like he's saying that, like I am actually always feeling separation from you. And whatever you do, mat prana nartastu saiva napra yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravarshaitam punyaitam jagat sarvam
Govinda
govinda
Vaya.
vinayame.
yeah.
All the same, all the same kind of expressions, ecstasy is expressed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also in Sishtastakam.
Yeah, there's so many uh, expressions.
Yes.
And yeah, yesterday.
Sometimes thinking oneself one with the Supreme imitated Lord's pastimes. So this also we discussed actually, how the gopis were actually exhibiting their symptoms, same like the Lord. In material also we can see people when they see like they are a fan of certain hero. Sometimes they watch the movie and they'll try to imitate, same like hero. Here, the God is a hero for the devotee. So naturally, when they are too much intense absorption about the Lord, then they try to imitate the Lord's past tense. And here, Prabhupada writes one important comment here that one must go for the Lord. He sometimes shows the symptoms of madness. These feelings of devotee would not be appreciated by impersonalists because impersonalists, their way of worshipping the Lord is different. Okay, they see the Lord as Brahman. So they do normally meditation. Meditation means quiet, calm, and like that kind of, they don't dance, they don't, like express their emotions like this. That's why Prabhupada, these feelings of the devotee would not be appreciated by the impersonalists because impersonalists, their worship is different. Okay. So Prabhupada writes here, one must go further into spiritual understanding. So the first realization in spiritual life is impersonal Brahman. Okay. So not necessarily everybody goes through the stage of impersonal Brahman. Who is a devotee, he directly realizes Krishna. But somebody begins with Jnana Yoga, reading the scriptures. Their realization, first realization will be in the spiritual life progress is impersonal Brahman. That Sarvam Kalidam Idam Brahma. Sarvam Kalidam Brahma means everything is Brahman. So everywhere is the Brahman feature of the Lord. That is the first realization. Further, when they are progressing, they will realize the stage of Paramatma, that the Lord is situated in every living entity, within every atom. That is Paramatma realization. And final stage of realization is actually Supreme Personality of Godhead, okay, who is worshipped by transcendental feelings of devotee in relationship with Santyarasa, Dasyarasa, Sakyarasa, Vatsalyarasa, or Madhuryarasa. So here we can see, this is like an example. If you are going into the building, one building, newly constructed building, ready for occupancy, like you are climbing the stairs. When you go to the second floor and you see from the balcony, you see certain things, on the ground. That is impersonal Brahman realization. Then when you go to the fifth floor, okay, then you see certain more area of coverage from that view. That is actually Paramatma realization. But when you go to the last stage, topmost floor of the building, that is Bhagavan realization. So the person who is in the Bhagavan realization is in the topmost floor. So he can see the realization what the impersonal Brahman has. He also sees what the Paramatma realization has. But the people who are in the first floor, they cannot see the same view like the person on the top floor. Right, Prabhu? Somebody is on the 10th floor. Somebody is on the first floor. He can see also certain things, right? Somebody is in the first floor. He can also see certain things, certain area. Maybe he can see something around, But somebody, like if you are going to a high floor building, then you can see a lot of things if you are on the top floor. So much wider area of view, right? So like that, like that we can see Brahman realization, they see certain things. It is not that they don't see anything, they also see certain things. But a person who is in Paramatma realization, he sees more than the Brahman realization because he is in the fifth floor realization. But one who has realized Bhagavan, he is on the topmost floor. He can see the person realization of Brahman as well as Paramatma as well as Bhagavan also. So this is the gradations, or we can say the highest level is actually Bhagavan realization. In Bhagavatam also it is there that Vadanti tat tattva jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti sabdete. Means the spiritual truth is realized in the three stages. Beginning level as Brahman, and the second line is Paramatma, and the third level is Bhagavan. And Krishna says anybody who is striving for spiritual life should come up to the last stage, that Bhagavan realization. So in Bhagavan realization only, the devotee will exhibit these transcendental feelings. But normally people who are in Brahman or Paramatma, they don't actually exhibit this kind of bhava or prema. And that bhava or prema, it is expressed in the 5 kinds of rasas. How they are expressing this bhava or prema, it is actually Shantaras means, neutral. Neutral means passive. It's like the grass in Vrindavan, the trees in Vrindavan, they actually serve the Lord, but they don't exhibit much. It is like a neutral stage, Shantaras. And Dasyaras, we know that famous Hanuman, who is always in the mood of servant. We are also called as Das after initiation means. Das means we are always a servant of the Lord. Okay, always serve the Lord in the mood of a servant. So that is Dasyaras. And Sakyaras means like what we have Arjuna, Isasaga, Uddhava. They are all in the Rasa. Sakyaras means in the friendship with the Lord, intimate associates of the Lord. And Vatsalya means the parental mood. Okay, that is Vatsalya Ras. And Madhurya Ras means Prema between the Radharani and Krishna. So in the Bhava is exhibited in this five kinds of transcendental feelings are expressed in these five rasas. Apart from this, is called primary rasas. There are also secondary rasas called as Hasya ras, like Veera ras. These are all secondary rasas. Seven more is there. So like Bhishma Dev, he exhibited Veerya ras, exhibited with Krishna and Veerya ras. Means he want to fight with Krishna. That is Veerya ras. That is also one kind of transcendental feelings, expression. But here, whatever Prahlad Maharaj is exhibiting, it is Vatsalyaras. Vatsalyaras means how Prahlad Maharaj is considering himself as a child of God, like father. Narsimhadev is his father, and he is the son. Okay, so he is exhibiting that parental feeling, love, how a child will exhibit his love towards his parents, especially father and mother. That kind of love, that's called filial love and affection. Affection. So as a child cries, Prabhupada writes here, when left by his mother, so like that, Prabhupada also says for Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting, Hare Krishna means calling out like a child crying for his mother, Hara. Like that,
Right.
Prabhupada says, yes. Hara means like the mother is taking care of the child. Sometimes the mother is also busy with other activities, so the mother will leave the child, in the hall, and she will attend some job in the kitchen or some other household. This one, but the child always wants a mother company. So the child will keep crying, in the hall. The mother will not immediately respond because the mother is busy with her household call. So the mother, what she will do, she will sometimes come to the hall and put some toy, give some toy. The child will take the toy, and again the child will cry. Again the mother will come, give some food or something. Then again the child wants a mother company, not satisfied with the food only. So whatever the child will give, mother will give, it's not certain. Finally, the mother knows that the child does not want the food or toy. The mother knows that the child is looking for her company. Same way, in our spiritual life also, when we are crying for the Lord also gives some toy. Sometimes the Lord gives us some siddhis. Okay, take this siddhi. Still, if you cry, the Lord knows that you are not behind siddhis also. So then the Lord will give some kind of other kind of whatever, material affluence or something, whatever. But still, if the child will cry, the Lord will come personally for his association. So like that, Prabhupada says we have to cry for the genuine cry. Our cry should be genuine for the association of the Lord. In that way, then the Lord will come. So when the child will keep on crying, the mother will not no more give toy or food. The mother will personally come, take the child and put her on her lap. Then the child will stop crying. So devotee cries like that. The devotee does not hanker for anything material, but he keeps crying for the association of the Lord, for the mercy of the Lord, for the blessings of the Lord. Till the Lord will give his mercy and blessings, the child will not stop crying. So here Prahlad Maharaj is exhibiting similar kind of affection for the association of the Lord. So here we can see when Prahlad Maharaj felt that Lord was away from him, he began to cry. Nadati. Nadati means the beginning of the verse itself, that crying is exhibited. Again, a devotee like Prahlad sometimes sees that Lord is coming from a long distance to pacify him. His mother responding to a child saying, my dear child, do not cry, I am coming. So, this is practically Prabhupada gives a material example so that we can appreciate and understand how a devotee will feel his feelings towards the Lord. Because see, unless we come to this platform, we cannot understand what Prahlad Maharaj is experiencing. And Prahlad Maharaj, what he's experiencing is prema level. It is very far from us. So Prabhupada understood that if you want to understand this topic, he want to give us a material example. So that's why here Prabhupada is whatever giving the material example so that we can understand and appreciate what Prahlad Maharaj is feeling. Like a mother responding to a child. My dear child, do not cry, I am coming. Then the devotee, without being ashamed due to his surroundings and circumstances, begins to dance, thinking, here is my Lord. My Lord is coming. So in this way, in this regard, there is also a pastime of Srila Prabhupada. One time, after the Janmashtami day or Janmashtami night, I think, one of the devotee, I think, is one of his Prabhupada had a disciple. Acharya Prabhakar in India before going to America. So he was expressing this realization that Prabhupada one day he saw in the temple courtroom in the hall, Prabhupada was dancing in ecstasy. He was playing mridanga and dancing in ecstasy, and Prabhupada had kind of special garland on his neck. That is some special unique flower. I forgot the name of the flower. That flower normally is coming very small size only. In that local town area, that same flower is having like small size. But the Prabhupada, what he was wearing, that flower size was very huge, big size. That is not normally available in the town or nearby towns also. So when this disciple asked Prabhupada, like, how you are dancing in ecstasy and what is this special garland? Prabhupada said that Krishna personally given me this garland and then he disappeared. So in that ecstasy, Prabhupada was dancing, you know. So like that, you can see here the Lord is my Lord. So here Prabhupada writes same that. Then Prabhupada is actually giving his realization also. Prahlad Maharaj realization and his realization. My dear child, do not cry, I am coming. Then the devotee, without being ashamed due to surrounding and circumstances, begins to dance, thinking, here is my Lord is coming. Thus, the devotee, in full ecstasy, sometimes imitates the pastimes of the Lord. This is what we discussed about the gopis imitating the pastimes of Krishna. Just as the cowherd boys, gopas also, not only gopis, just as the cowherd boys also used to imitate the behavior of the jungle animals. So when gopas were there in association of Krishna, sometimes they will associate how the forest animals will come. Like that, they used to imitate. However, he does not actually become the Lord. By imitating, one does not become as a Lord. Prahlad Maharaj achieved the spiritual ecstasy described here by his advancement in spiritual understanding. How did Prahlad Maharaj exhibit this spiritual ecstasy? Because his advancement in spiritual understanding. So Shravanam, Prahlad Maharaj says, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mantanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Yes. So, according to that, Prahlad Maharaj spiritual understanding, advancement in spiritual understanding, Prahlad Maharaj exhibited this spiritual ecstasies. And verse number 41 also, more ecstasies of Prahlad Maharaj is described by Narada Muni. So, devotees have any questions or comments or add, please feel free. If there are no further discussion, we can go to verse number 41. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, just one understanding means there's a Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan realization. So here, this impersonalist means the Brahman realization is the impersonalist realization,
Yes.
right? So there is
Yes,
no
impersonal. Brahman also. And yeah, partially we can say Paramatma also. Because Bhagavan future is personal. So, what happens? No, the people who are in impersonalist, they think that there is no spiritual world.
Oh, means they are initial stage, right?
Yes. For them, see, for the jnanis, the Brahman is pervading everywhere, Prabhu. Everywhere it is pervading. Paramatma is also pervading everywhere as Paramatma. Okay. So what they think, after our spiritual life perfection, we will go and merge in the Brahman. Okay. Now, personalist, what is our understanding? There is spiritual world, right? Yadgatvana nivartante taddama paramam mama. So spiritual world is there and spiritual activities also there. There you go and associate with Krishna in these five bhavas, five rasas, right? So that is not actually understanding of this impersonal. Impersonalist means Brahman is the ultimate, not Bhagavan. So when you practice spiritual life, you will get perfection. Then after leaving this body, this Brahman will go and this soul will go and merge in the Brahman. And in Brahman, there is no variety. There is no variety. There is no activity. It will just merge means merge. That's all. So there is no variety. Nirguna. They say Nirguna, Nirvishesh. Nirvishesha Shunyavada. Nirvishesha means there is no quality in the Brahman. So it's just like merging. So, but our Bhagavan realization means Bhagavan is situated in Golak Vrindavan. Golak Vrindavan, Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrahma Sevyamana. Thousands of Lakshmis are standing in the line to serve the Lord. Activity is there. Okay. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So, that spiritual world is existing and there are 3/4 of the souls. 75% of the souls are in the spiritual world. They are actively engaged in the service of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocating with them with love. And they are serving the Lord. and only 1/4 or the 25% of the souls, they have been coming to the material world for enjoying independently of the Lord. So once we practice Krishna consciousness, we actually, when we get perfection in the bhakti, like we reach the stage of bhava or prema, you get liberated from this material world and you enter the spiritual world. And you have your own bhava, right? You have your own swarupa, they say, swarupa. Like you may be with the Lord as a Sakya Ras, or you may be dealing with the Lord with Madhya Ras, like that. So in that way, you will interact with the Lord and you will have an eternal life there in the company of the Lord. So Brahman is only, actually, that Brahman effulgence, Prabhupada says it is an effulgence outside the spiritual world.
Yeah.
That is also correct, but it is outside the spiritual world, like the sun rays coming from sun. The effulgence from the spiritual world and the effulgence coming out of Krishna's body is Brahman. That is outside the spiritual world. So they will merge in that Brahman, but they cannot enter the spiritual world because they did not practice bhakti.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will be in the
But
border.
he has the
Yeah.
understanding that there is a God, there is a Rupa, right?
No,
Right,
no,
Prabhu?
no, there
No.
is no Rupa for them.
There
For
is no
Brahman, there is no Rupa. That is
Only
what effulgence.
effulgence.
only effulgence light from the
Yes, like light. And they will merge in that light. Sometimes you can see that when Krishna kills some asura, he will give mukti. That is actually that impersonal mukti, means they will go and merge in the light. Like they will not enter the spiritual world. So that outside light, see, material world is there, spiritual world is there. Out in between the material world and spiritual world, there is a light which is pervading. Okay, that light is called as Brahma Jyoti. And where is that light coming from? It is emanating from the body of the Lord,
body of the
Krishna.
Lord.
Krishna.
So those who practice this jnana yoga or impersonal kind of spiritual life, they also will be liberated, but they will be liberated only in the impersonal Brahma Jyoti of the Lord. They cannot enter the spiritual world. What is like you go to the border of the country, but you are not allowed to enter the country. You already exit your country.
Yes.
And you go to the other border, but you will not enter that country because there is no visa for you. So, who are practicing devotion, they will only give entry to the spiritual world. But these people will be, they already liberated from birth and death, but they will be merged in the Brahman. So, Prabhupada says that if you are merged in the Brahman, what is the risk? Because you are not having any activity, you will, after some time, you will feel kind of boring because no activity. And you are not able to enter the spiritual world. And so there is a tendency for the soul to come back to the material world for activity again. There is chance to fall down again. Because the soul is very active. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also that soul is very active. See, we cannot sit in one room for 5 hours, right? Then you want to getting up, watching mobile, going out, walking outside. So the soul is naturally very active. So the soul cannot be idle. So this soul, when it is merging with Brahma Jyoti, if there is no activity, the soul has tendency, because it cannot go to the spiritual world for activity, it can fall down to material world for activity. Yeah, that's why Prabhupada says, like even the impersonally sometimes they are opening some spiritual institution. After that, they will open school and hospital. Why? Because there is no activity inside the spiritual organization. So then they want to do something. So they will open our hospital. They will on the name. Probably we have seen, no? Spiritual organizations, they are opening hospital, schools, right?
Yes, yes.
And they will, whoever in the organization, they will take some seva in the hospital or school.
Yes.
They will become teachers, they will become principal. Here they will become administrators for the hospital. Why? Because the soul has to do some service. And because he is not doing service to the Lord, they have to do somewhere else service. So they will come and do service here.
Yes.
So service is our nature. Service is our nature. It is an intrinsic quality of the soul. It is inbuilt with the soul, service. So now in Krishna consciousness, we are serving the Lord. We are serving the devotee. So that service propensity is engaged already. So we will not open school. We will not opening hospital. Of course, with Krishna's dovetailing Krishna, we can do. But normally, devotees are not very much interested to, because their service already engaged in serving the Lord. Serving the Lord and serving the devotees. So that service nature has to be utilized. Clear, Prabhu? Sadananda Vishnu Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So that we have to understand, Prabhu. They don't believe in the existence of spiritual world.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru. Okay. 41. Somebody
Yeah.
reading?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, 4th chapter, 41 sloka. Kvachit utpalkas सूक्ष्णम् आस्ते संस्पर्श निवृतः अस्पन्दः प्राणयानन्द सलिलामीलिते क्षणः क्वचित् उत्पलक तूष्णम् आस्ते संस्पर्श निवृतः अस्पन्द प्राणयानन्द सलिलामीलिते क्षणः. Translation. Sometimes, feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became spiritually jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end and tears gliding down from his half closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. Translation once again. Sometimes, feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became spiritually jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end and tears gliding down from his half closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. Purport. When a devotee feels separation from the Lord, he becomes eager to see where the Lord is. And sometimes, when he feels pangs of separation, tears flow incessantly from his half closed eyes. As stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sishtastaka, Yugayitam Nimishena Chakshusha Paurushayitam. The words Chakshusha and Praurushayitam refers to tears falling incessantly from the devotee's eyes. These symptoms, which appear in pure devotional ecstasy, were visible in the body of Prahlad Maharaj. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. So as we are continuing describing the Pralads of Narada Muni, describing the symptoms of ecstasy of Prahlad Maharaj, here we can see the sometimes feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he becomes spiritually jubilant and remained silent, and his hair standing on the end and tears gliding down from his half-closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. So normally, even the devotees, like devotees of the Lord, they are like Uttamadhikari. Like we have three stages of devotees: Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari, means topmost devotees, like Prabhupada, Uttamadhikari. So they normally don't exhibit these symptoms openly because in the public, no, if you exhibit, the public may misunderstand or mistake. So Prabhupada never exhibited this, even though he had so much of bhava inside. Normally, he will not exhibit this kind of tears coming from his outflow. But sometimes, Prabhupada also, like in time one time I think in Gujarat, Prabhupada was singing Jayarada Madhav. Then after singing, tears started coming, and Prabhupada went to trance actually, and he was just frozen like that after singing. So sometimes for them it is difficult to control, even though they don't want to show that exhibit. Sometimes it will come out naturally, no. Like somebody is engrossed about Krishna, when they hear about Krishna, the hair will stand. When we hear about the Lord's miracle, His mercy, sometimes His pastimes, and our hair will stand. So that is a visible manifestation of the Baba. So here you can see his hair standing on the end, and tears gliding down from his half closed eyes. So, this is one expression of because of the love for the Lord. So, this is very important point. And Prabhupada writes here when a devotee feels separation from the Lord, he becomes eager to see where the Lord is. Sometimes, when he feels pangs of separation, tears flow incessantly from his half closed eyes. So, you can see how we can understand with a material example. Now, material example, even the love is not so pure. Still, if a boy and girl they are loving each other, even though it's not a pure love, still if the boy is not able to see the girl, or the girl is not able to see the boy, they have so much anxiety, and when they will, they have that kind of separation. No, they feel the tears. If for a contaminated love, so much emotions are coming, then we can imagine how what will be the effect of a pure love. Hmm? So that is how we can understand here what Prabhupada is writing. And Prabhupada immediately quotes, refers Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Shashtakam, Yugaitam Nivishena Chakshusha Pravashaitam. So the words Chakshusha Pravashaitam, the words tears falling incessantly from the devotee's eyes. Yugaitam Nimishena means, see, when the Lord is not there, even a moment actually will feel like years together. No? And when the Lord is there, then what happens? You will feel that the many years going as a minute. So like something which we are very much interested, what happens? We don't feel, that how time is passing. And sometimes, you are standing in a line in a supermarket or something, big line. Every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you stand for a long time, then you see only 5 minutes has passed, in a bank, or because you are not interested in the subject. So you are every time seeing only 5 minutes has passed or 10 minutes has passed, like that. So, this is the thing. This is psychology of the mind. When you are interested in something, time will pass very fast. And one more example, if you are with a person whom you like very much, then the time will pass very fast. And if you are put into a person who you don't like him, you hate him, even 5 minutes you cannot able to tolerate. You feel like I was sitting with this guy for half an hour, but only 5 minutes actually has passed. So same thing here with Krishna also. A devotee is company with Krishna, Yugaitam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravarshaitam, refers to tears falling incessantly from devotee's eyes. These symptoms which appear in pure devotional ecstasy were visible in the body of Prahlad Maharaj. So this 39, 40, 41, it's expressing the symptoms of ecstasy of Prahlad Maharaj. So next we can go to 42 verse, that is speaking about power of good association. So we can see that 42 for today we can complete up to 42. So 42 also we can recite. Hare
What
Krishna.
is it, Babaji? Power of?
Power of good association.
Good
Sadhu Sangha.
association. 42. Oh, thank you.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
So we go to that Babaji. Page number 42. Somebody can read. 7442.
Hare Krishna Babu. I will read.
Thank you, Babaji.
स उत्तम श्लोक पादारविन्दयोर् निषेवया किञ्चन सङ्ग लभ्यया लभ्यया तन्मान् परं निर्वृतम् आत्मनो मुहुः दुषङ्ग दिनस्य मन समां व्यदात् स उत्तम श्लोक पादारविन्दयो निष्वेय अकिञ्चन संग लेभ्यया तन्वान् परं निर्वृतम् आत्मनो भूर् दुष्संग दीनस्य मन समं व्यदात्. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, because of his association with perfect unallowed devotees who had nothing to do with anything material, Prahlad Maharaja constantly engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet. By seeing his bodily features when he was in perfect ecstasy, person very poor in spiritual understanding became purified. In other words, Prahlad Maharaj bestowed upon them transcendental bliss. But apparently, Prahlad Maharaj was placed in circumstances in which he was always tortured by his father. In such material condition, one cannot have an undisturbed mind. But since bhakti is unconditional, ahaituki apradhigata, Prahlad Maharaj was never disturbed by the chastisements of Hiranyakasipu. On the contrary, the bodily symptoms of his ecstatic love for the Supreme Personal Godhead turned the minds of his friends, who had also been born in atheistic families. Instead of being disturbed by the torments of his father, Prahlad influenced these friends and cleansed their mind. A devotee is never contaminated by material conditions, but persons subjected to material conditions can become spiritually advanced and blissful upon seeing the behavior of a pure devotee. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So the 42 verse, the theme is power of good association. You can see here it is already described like Prahlad Maharaj had very good association. Because of association, perfect unallowed means the Bhakti Vedantas, Prahlad Maharaj was having association with Narada Muni even in the womb. Because Narada Muni was explaining, Narada Muni was such a powerful, pure devotee of the Lord. Whoever comes in touch with Narada Muni, they become pure devotees also. So he had very good perfect unalloyed devotees who had nothing to do with anything material. Prahlad Maharaj constantly engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet. By seeing his bodily features when he was in perfect ecstasy, persons very poor in spiritual understanding become purified. In other words, Prahlad Maharaj bestowed upon them transcendental bliss. It's a very, very important statement Prabhupada is giving in the purport here. Very nice statement. A devotee is never contaminated by material conditions. But a person subjected to material conditions can become spiritually advanced and blissful upon seeing the behavior of a pure devotee. So this is a very nice point you can see. A devotee is not affected by material things. Like you can see here, Prahlad Maharaj, although being tortured by his father, but he was not at all disturbed. And Prabhupada writes unconditional. Ahituki apratiyata. Bhagavatam, no? In the beginning it is that Saivai pumsam parodharmo yato bhakti adhokshaje. Ahituki apratiyata yatma suprasedati. So bhakti is unconditional. This we have to remember. Bhakti is unconditional means no material condition is required for bhakti. No material condition means it is not required that we should be beautiful. It's not that our father should be devotee, parents should be devotee. It's not that I should become well educated materially to become qualified in bhakti. So there is no bar. And what is the proof? Prabhupada's disciples are the proof. Prabhupada's disciples were all around the world. They are also pure devotees of the Lord, but they did not have any background. They did not hear about Krishna. They did not read Bhagavad Gita. They did not read Bhagavatam. And their parents were not like devotees. But because they had the association of Prabhupada, what happened? They also become pure devotees of the Lord. So Prabhupada gives an example, like if an iron rod, if you keep in the fire, beginning it is only iron rod. But the more you keep on the fire, then the iron rod changes into fire itself. So that is a thing. And that iron rod, if you keep on any cotton or something, it will catch fire. So association is like that. When you are associating with pure devotees of the Lord, or you are associating with devotees of the Lord, then automatically our spiritual progress will be there. So there are different devotees like association, giving association. There are devotees who are following less than us. So for them, you have to guide them to further progress, right? There are devotees below us, and there are devotees among our same level. We have to be friendship with them. And there are devotees higher than us. With them, you have to take association. So three things are there. Three kinds of devotees. The devotees who are lower than us, we have to actually guide them. How to perform, inspire them, guide them. And with devotees who are on the same level with us, we have to be having friendship with them. And devotees who are higher than us, we have to take association from them. So when you are associating with devotees who are higher than us, then what happens? We will also be inspired to become better devotees. That's what Prabhupada is saying. A person subjected to material conditions can become spiritually advanced and blissful upon seeing the behavior of a pure devotee. So the philosophy is there in Bhagavatam, and then there is 3 P's they say for progress. Spiritual progress has 3 P's. First P is actually philosophy. So we get all this philosophy from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So the second P is actually person Bhagavata. So first is book Bhagavata is philosophy. Second P is person Bhagavata is actually the practice. We see the people who are practicing. That's what Prabhupada is saying here. Person can be spiritually advanced and blissful upon seeing the behavior of pure. Now we are seeing pure devotees in front of us, right? Guru Maharaj is there. Prabhupada disciples are there. There are also other our friends, devotees are there. When we see them, then we want to do better. We are practicing. Third piece, we are practicing by seeing them, by getting inspiration from them. Then after that, first is philosophy, then people, seeing the people, and third is practicing. Then we become actually, we progress spiritually more and more. So this 3P is very, very important. So always we should guide the devotees who are below us. Spiritually, maybe they are chanting only 2 rounds. For those people, now we are chanting more rounds, then we can guide them. And also devotees on our same level, we should take friendship with them, keep friendship, maintain the association. And third, higher level devotees, we should seek association from them, and so that we can actually progress further from our level to the next level. So the secret is actually if you want to progress spiritually, it is said that we should seek the association of advanced devotees who are advanced, more advanced than us. Then we also get the impetus to advance more. So that is one thing explained here about power of good association. That is one thing. And also bhakti is unconditional. So bhakti does not hamper even of her father. Like here you see the Hiranyakasipu father is actually a demon, but still the son is a devotee. That means parents are not important, education is not important, wealth is not important. Any material condition is not relevant for our progress in bhakti. So the two things we are seeing here. One is association impact and bhakti is unconditional. So with that, this purport we are completing today. And next 43 verse, maybe we can continue from tomorrow. Actually, from 43 verses, actually describing about how Hiranyakashipu was torturing Prahlad Maharaj. You know, it's how he was torturing. And I think 3-4 verses only there, 43, 44, 46. And yes, then Yudhishthira Maharaj is further asking more questions from Narada Muni. So 44 to 46. Why actually Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking why Hiranyakashipu is torturing his own son, even though he's a nice devotee. Why is he torturing his own son? Because normally father will not torture his son. In this case, Yudhishthira Maharaj is surprised. Why Hiranyakashipu is torturing his own son? So then we come to the next chapter, chapter 5, Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Then actually Narada Muni is answering Yudhishthira Maharaj's question. Even though parents are affectionate to the children, but how it is so violent. So that will be interesting discussion in the next chapter. Hare Krishna. So devotees have any questions or comments on today's discussion? We can.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In the previous sloka and this sloka, just my experience means when we are in Tirupati or when we are in big temple, there
Yes,
is
Prabhu.
Mangalarati, and just also when I feel that when I got the bead from Guru Maharaj
Yes.
by this side of
Yeah.
our Prabhuji, so Prabhuji Guru Maharaj is taking these beads again back. So
Yeah.
I played the please give your mercy, please give your mercy. And then my means that automatically the tears come from my eyes. So
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
The
that is
emotions.
an emotions.
Emotions,
So
yes.
that is also here the bhakti is unconditional. So that is also the conditional means it will be pious or impious. So
Correct.
it will be So that is beyond our there is pious and impious. That is the bhakti will be
Yes, Prabhu.
impious,
Because yes,
unconditional.
bro. If pious means bhakti will come, easily we can do pious activities, right? Like I can feed somebody. I have money, so I will feed somebody with another. Then it's a pious activity, right?
Yeah,
Somebody I am donating something, charity. That is also pious activity. So that
yeah,
means what happens? That with the pious activity you can get bhakti means that means with money you can get bhakti. Correct?
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
pious activities come. Every day I will feed for 1,000 people for 2 years with my money. Then it becomes punya. Okay, then with that punya you can get bhakti means that means with money you can get bhakti. So that's why it is pious or impious activities is not related to bhakti.
bhakti.
But if
Yeah,
you serve a bhakta, then you will get that sukriti. That kind of sukriti will give you bhakti. Like
association.
serving the
Yeah,
Mahatmas.
yes,
Bhagavatam also says, no, Mat Sevam Ahurviktesu Tamodvaram Yositam Sangi Sangam. But like when you are actually serving the sadhus, Mat Sevam
Matseva.
Ahurviktesu means your doors for liberation is opened.
Yeah,
So by serving also, so people, Prabhupada says, go to the extent that even if you are not chanting, even if you are not reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad, if you serve a pure devotee of the Lord, just serving only,
yes,
whatever seva you are doing, that itself your spiritual progress will start coming.
yes, bro.
And there is one more reference also, like the husband is doing service to the Lord, and the wife is just only
Yeah,
serving the husband. Then
yeah,
50% of the, because the wife no need to practice spiritual also, but if the husband is
yes.
very sincere, and the wife will serve the husband, automatically she will get the credit also.
Credit. Okay, okay. Yes.
So separately no need to endeavor for them. Like that example. So same
Yeah,
way, if a devotee will serve sadhu, like a pure devotee of the Lord, we are serving. Even
yeah,
though he may not be chanting, he may not be reading, automatically what happens? He will progress spiritually because he is serving a Pure devotee of the Lord.
Pure devotee. Yeah.
Yeah. So like our Guru Maharaj and a lot of assistants are there, no? So
Yeah,
maybe sometimes they don't get time also, no, to chant, or maybe sometimes they don't get time like us to read Bhagavatam. But still, because they are serving the Mahatmas, Mahat Sevam Ahur Viktaistu, they are automatically their spiritual progress is guaranteed.
Yeah. Yes.
So like
Thank you,
that,
Prabhu. Thank you.
Sukriti, that Sukriti is different.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare,
Thank you for sharing your realization.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all devotees. Any doubt further? Realization? Anything?
Okay, Prabhu. I think if there
Okay,
are no
well.
further discussions, we can wind up today's session.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining.
Thank you all
today.
devotees for giving this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, we are lucky, Prabhuji. Yesterday, I thought Prabhuji was not, but today, on holiday, Prabhuji came and enlightened us. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for giving the opportunity. Hare Krishna.
So, we'll chant 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Shivamana Prabhuji as well as all the devotees who are present today for everybody's spiritual progress. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram.